Hey everybody, happy Thanksgiving. So we're back. This is video number 3 in my series of the Hardcore League, how to achieve 5 of 5 goals in the Hardcore event in DDO. We went over a lot of stuff in video 1 and 2, and for video 3, I am on Platinum, as you can see. I got level 5. A couple things changed, but I'll go over that. But the main focus of this video is going to be the 5,000 favor and getting the 3 rewards. So the first one being 1750, the second one being 5,000, and then the third one being hitting level 20. Now, as we spoke about in the previous videos, and you'll likely hear if you look on DDO.com and talk to people who are in the DDO community, there's lots of different ways to do this. So I want to stress again, this is what I did. You may have your own way of doing this, and you could probably make a guide, and I could probably learn from it. I mean, to be completely honest, I learn every group that I get in, every person that I meet. You guys are all fantastic. The nicest people I met during the hardcore season 1, 2, and 3. Some of the smartest, cleverest DDO players. I thought that I knew the game well, and I feel like a newbie sometimes, which is fantastic. That's one of the reasons why I love the Hardcore League event, because as a guy who's been playing this game since it came out, I can get in a group and learn something and feel like, wow, I feel like I just started playing this game. And so hopefully you try hardcore if you haven't. If you have, come back, play the next season 4. We don't know when that's going to start, but we can do some preparation. And so that's part of the reason I wanted to put together this video series for everybody. It's been something that I've been thinking about since I GM'd Death Smile, which is a very popular guild. I mean, I love all of you guys who run with me and make the guild such a great place. And you know, Hardcore League itself has a lot of other guilds that are fantastic also. It's just a wealth of a good community. So to keep on point though, I wanted to specifically focus on how we can plan for the season 4 and what can we do, because some of you guys may have done all 3 and some of you may never have done one. And so this series of videos is mostly for people who never have played Hardcore League. You've found DDO, you like it, and you heard that there's an event. What is it? It's a permadeath. What does that mean? So we're going over all of the different strategies that you can take to maximize your performance during the event, to avoid some pitfalls and some headaches, some unnecessary deaths, because you know, season 3 we got extra lives that you could earn, but season 1 and 2, if you died, that was it. You were out. Your character was sent to the penalty box, and you could not play that character again until the after party, and that was after everything was tallied. So your effort to win any rewards on that tune would not count. Matter of fact, once you die, everything you've done is removed from the leaderboard. I'm not sure if that's true if you've already claimed a reward. Let's say if you claimed all 5 rewards and then you die. But I think it's true. I think you are removed from the leaderboard regardless. They don't keep you on there. So if you want to stay on the leaderboards, you want to get your gifts, then, you know, we're going to go over the best ways to do it. And there's many ways, but we'll cover what I think and what worked for me, because I have gone 5 of 5, to get the best results. And so when you talk about the 5,000, this is heroic level stuff. So 1750, 5,000 favor, hitting level 20, all that's going to occur for you in heroic content. There, you could, for example, go to epics, hit level 30, grab an epic past life, grab a heroic past life, and then start doing your 1750 or 5000, or maybe you hit 1750 on the way to level 30, you hit level 20, and now you just need to go back and work your 5000. You know, keep in mind that while I don't think TRing is necessary, a lot of people do that approach. So it is a solid idea because your character does get a lot more powerful, but it's a significant time investment, you know, because you're adding what already can be a grind. That's something we should say first. That is lesson number one about going to 5000 favor to get the reward. If you really want that, be prepared to invest a lot of time. It is not an easy, quick thing. Yes, I know people who've done it in 2 weeks, I think. They had their horse in season 3. There's extra lives in season 3, but they had their horse in 2 or 3 weeks. I think that was also the case in season 2. But it's a significant, they didn't just log in for an hour a day for 2 weeks and do that. They played nonstop. I mean, it is a lot of quests that you need to do. It is a lot of grinding. And so you need to be ready for that. And then also mentally, you have to be ready for the fact that you could get to 4800, 4900, you know, 4950, and then die. And then lose all of that time and need to start over. I've seen it happen. It happened to a few friends of mine. People not paying attention, because by the time you get up to that level of favor, you're doing level 19, 18, 19, and level 20 quests. The content can be significantly harder because your character will be capped at XP, either at level 18 or 19, depending on how well you did getting favor in the lower levels. And so the content can be very challenging, even with a really good group, depending on the quest. And so what we have compiled is a list of quests that you really kind of want to skip. We'll go over that. We'll talk about all the different quests that you want to skip, because there are a few. Now, that being said, I know people who ran almost every quest that you're going to see on this list. I know people who ran it last season. I think the guys, Zuzu and Apocalypse Dom, who came in number 1 and number 2 on both of the Favor and the Reaper XP, I'm pretty sure they ran Temple of Elemental Evil Part 2, which is on my skip list. I would never run that on Hardcore League. I always advise people against running it, but, you know, they did it. Yeah, they are so good at DDO that they can do it, and you could get in a group and knock it out and think, oh, no big deal at all. But this is what I've said from the beginning. This is a general guide. You're going to find exceptions to what I say here all over the place. But so you've got your time. And so as a result of, if you go to 5000 favor, you've got the time set aside. You've got yourself mentally prepared if some tragedy should happen. You also want to plan for the fact that you're going to be sitting in levels with maxed out XP for a lot of your life. You know, my character right now is level 5. I'm far from being maxed out on XP. As a matter of fact, I'm in a deficit. I need to, you know, get some XP so I can get leveled up. But going for 5000 favor, you get so much XP, even with no potions, that you really don't have to worry about XP. As a matter of fact, you're only taking your levels when you're within 4 levels of the quests. And what am I talking about specifically? It's when you look at these and you see, you know, you see the heroic number. So quest level 1, you can only be within 4 levels of the quest, you know, 4 levels higher, and to get into the quest. Otherwise, the quest will not let you in. So you have to plan for that. So, for example, I'm level 5. If I want to do these level 1 quests out in the Gatekeepers in the Borderlands, I need to do them at this level. I cannot take level 6. if I take level 6, this character is locked from going and doing these and getting that favor. I would not be able to get that favor. I would have to reincarnate, and then what happens is all of your favor is reset back to 0. That's something else to keep in mind if you're going to TR. All of your favor, if you true reincarnate or racial reincarnate, is set back to 0. And then you have to start over again from scratch. And if you don't have the time, or if you're not mentally into it, you know, if you're just hoping to get through this quickly, you might not go back and do them if you make a mistake. So it's really important to make sure that you finish everything that you want to finish based on the level that you are. And you know, this character Platinum is my clone of my Reaper tune, and I'm making quests to do with this video series to show you guys, you know, my progress. Like right now I have 2,500 platinum at level 5. I have a few things I can sell. I'm still wearing mostly crap. I did find a really good Sheltering 6 Resistance 2 helmet. You guys saw me get this robe. And I finished Misery's Peak. I'm still wearing that craptacular ring. I'm still using these Borderland Scepter. So I haven't really added much. I did, though, at level 5, after I did Misery's Peak, pick up the Archivist Necklace, which is fantastic to get extra mana. On a Warlock, I really don't ever run out of mana. I also picked up a Secret Door Detection wand when I was running around, and that I will use to help me find secret doors in some of the lower level quests. You can find secret doors with this spell. It stops working once the DC on the doors goes above 5. But you know, all of the harbor quests, you can use that. And then I also picked up Scrolls of Invisibility, because at level 6 I am going to run Stealthy Repossession, and Stealthy Repossession is a quest in the harbor. And so if we talk about quests, what quests do you skip? Well, a lot of people will tell you to skip this quest, and I would agree with those people. If you don't know this quest, if you have run it and died, if you can't find a group, then I would skip this quest. Now, it is good XP, and it's good favor. You know, you kind of technically, because this is a low level easy quest, easy, my opinion, you want to do every single quest you can do at low level, because they are so much easier than when you get to level 18, 19, and you're trying to get those really tough quests. Shavarath, for example. I mean, every quest in Shavarath can be a challenge. So if you could skip one because you did quests early, that's great. Now, I'm not saying don't do Shavarath. I actually did all of Shavarath in my Life 3, and I did almost all of Shavarath in Hardcore Season 2. I think the one that I skipped is the one where you have to drop down and fight the guy with the trap while you're running around. Forget the name of it. But in Season 3, I found someone. I happen to know how to do that quest. There's a little safe spot. You can jimmy yourself up against the wall and the trap doesn't hit you. But I didn't feel like trying it out on the hardcore server. So I was at like 4,900 and whatever favor by the time I got there. And I just was not in the mood to make a mistake and lose and get knocked out. So, but I found somebody else who ran it and knew what they were doing as well. And they were able to kill it very quickly. Because, you know, those are still heroic quests, even though they're when you do them on Elite, I think they come in at level 21. They don't have the epic hit point scaling that you see when you go into a real epic quest. So they're still not as bad as actual epic quests. But this one here, this quest was made to be run mostly invisible, and there's a path that you run. You have to hit some levers. You cannot kill more than 5 prophets, otherwise you fail the quest. You will, even invisible, because invisibility in DDO is broken and doesn't really work, you'll get chased by a lot of mobs, even invisible, through this. So there is a chance when you hit the end, even though you finish it, you could get swarmed and hit by a bunch of lightning bolts, because the casters are at the end where the gem is. There's a bunch of casters, and they could technically, kill you. I've seen it happen, but I've also seen it happen where on the Hardcore League, this is something to pay attention to for quests. So on DDO.com, if you go and look for Hardcore League 5,000 favor quest skip, there's a bunch of people who've posted. Some of them link spreadsheets, some of them link Google Docs, and everybody has a list. I'm looking at one now on the computer in front of me. We'll talk about, but what you'll see on Hardcore League, especially early, is a lot of LFMs, and you may find LFMs for quests that are on the list, and you could send a message to the woman or man who's running the quest and ask them, do they mind if you pike? Because a lot of people on the Hardcore League, it's not that they want you to pike or like that you pike. What happens is that some people know these quests so well, and they just do them solo all the time, that they really, if they have other people with them, it's only they like the company. They don't need you to do anything. So you may find somebody like me. If I am on the server and I'm running Stealthy Repo, I'll let people pike at the beginning because I don't need any help doing it. If you want credit for this quest, you can sit at the beginning and go get a drink or eat a cheeseburger, whatever, while I do it, because I have enough confidence in my ability to run it that I'm not worried about me dying. And that being said, you could find groups that would let you do that. It's not a good idea, though, having said that, for you to whisper group leaders and just ask them randomly if you can pike if you don't know them. So that's not the advice. The advice is, if you join a group, listen to the leader, do what they say, always plan on participating. But for a quest like this, where this one requires you to run through invisible, I would be really surprised if you found a group that wanted to dungeon crawl this quest. That would be very surprising to me. And likely that would be is people who don't know the quest. And likely that would be a waste of time for you to do, because people would probably end up killing the prophets and you'd fail, and you'd realize that you need to go through, find one person who's stealthy, either a rogue or somebody who's can cast invisibility on themselves, and then can run through and grab the gem and end the quest. So 5,000 favor. Let's talk about quests that people skip. Well, Stealthy Repo. This is the one. If you look at the level 2 quests, this is the quest that people skip. And it's for all the reasons that we just talked about. If you can't find a group to do it, if you don't know it, it certainly is worth skipping. I would recommend that you do it. Find a way to get it done and knock it out. Just get the favor for it, because later on you'll be very thankful that you did. A quest that I think is something that I would recommend to people to skip unless you have a good group, or is a quest that is the Butcher's Path. And the reason I say that is, at the end of Hardcore League Season 1, SSG looked at the death toll of the event, and they noticed a couple things. One was that traps, low-level traps, were murdering people statistically noticed, like very, very deadly were a lot of the early traps. And so we talked about this in one of the previous videos. They've gone through and retooled tweaked the traps and all the low-level quests, so now they are not deadly at all. It gives you a chance to sort of experiment, especially the traps out in Korthos. You can run into them and not get killed. Yesterday's video when I did the Kobold Den of Kobold Brothers Dirks, I triggered the fire trap by running into it and backing up, and it only did a little bit of damage to me. That's because they changed the traps and made them less deadly. But if you're somebody who doesn't know that, you know, what traps were affected, or I would say just respect traps because they kill more people than anything else. But what the other thing that I noticed in Hardcore League Season 1 is that the #1 most deadly quest was the Butcher's Path. More people died in the Butcher's Path than any other quest in the low levels. And that's probably for a few reasons. Maybe they were doing it on Reaper, because in the Butcher's Path, so many mobs spawn, and Reapers have a chance of spawning every time a mob spawns or dies. There's other things that cause Reapers to spawn and not spawn, and we won't go over that. There are other streamers who've made videos about Reapers and why they spawn and when they spawn and how they spawn and what type and all that stuff. So I would recommend that you go and check those videos out. But for our purposes here, if you're doing Butcher's Path on Reaper at low level, just be prepared for just a chaos storm. There is a quest called Total Chaos, but it really should out in the Borderlands, but it should be the Butcher's Path on Reaper if you're low level. Even on Elite, you know, you can get killed by Kobold, Shaman, Lightning Bolt because there's a lot of Shaman out there. And so that's one of the things that you also see is that the death or low level deaths are from traps, Kobold Shamans, Hera the Medusa out in the Borderlands, and I am convinced that we'll see a lot of deaths from the new zone, the Feywild, because my running around out there are some challenging quests out there. And so what can we do? Well, you know what? Let's run the Butcher's Path right now. On Elite, level 4, I'm level 5. Technically, you should probably wait to do this until you're level 6 on Hardcore, because you want to maximize, we talked yesterday, you're going to maximize your survivability. And the way that you do that is don't go into a quest until you absolutely have to. You want to do every single quest that is the easiest one to do first. Somebody could say to me, well, what if I'm going to die? Wouldn't I want to know that up front? Maybe my build isn't so good, or maybe I'm getting used to it. Yeah, I mean, if you want to play that way. But, you know, I would say probably the best way to approach this game is very cautiously when you're playing. Oh, okay, let me talk about what I changed. So I finally got Cone, and I am trying to get Magic Missile immunity, so I'm back into my PRR, MRR, and the other reason that I come over here, if anybody decides to play a Warlock, a low-level Warlock, once I get Magic Missile immunity, then I can get rid of this wand, and I can swap this spell out for jump. But I also grab this. This is huge. Very, very important. You could grab it over here, but I like this one because it's an aura, that it puts out an aura, and in Hardcore League, you're usually in a group, and any way that you can help your buddies out. I mean, let's face it, DDO is a buddy game. It's based on a tabletop game that is supposed to be played by buddies. Nobody ever bought a module and sat around and played by themselves unless they bought one of those choose your own path books that were very popular. I found a bunch of those at a yard sale actually and read them. They were actually, some of them are really cool. You want something to do if you're bored in the holidays and you want a good stocking stuffer, if you go on eBay and look for the Choose Your Own Adventure books, you can find some really cool sort of fantasy Dungeons and Dragons type things. Some of you guys will already know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so we're buddy. You got to watch out for your buddies. So anything that you can do with your group of buddies, and this is an aura of courage. It will help them. Saves versus fear, and we talked about fear effects. You know, if you're not a tiefling, you got to watch out for scare, fear, because they will make it so that you cannot do anything. And then some of them, like Phantasmal Killer, you will need to make a save versus death if you don't have death block on, which I don't have death block on yet. You can get death block at low level. I recommend that for Hardcore League. I just haven't found an item with it. Otherwise, I'd be wearing it. But this gives me, once I equip this, immunity to fear. You can read that. Immunity to fear, and allies gain a +4 morale bonus, and I also get +5 healing amplification, which is why I think this is better than this one, because this one is core 3, so I need to be level 6, and I also have to have 10 points spent in the tree, where this one is only core tier 2, and it only costs 5 points, and I only have to be Warlock level 3. I get heal amp, I get an aura that helps my buddies, and I get immunity to fear, as opposed to this one that just gives me immunity to fear, and then anything that I hit with my Eldritch Blast gets shaken. You know, I mean, DDO is a game of percentages, and shaken is just a -2 stat, and it's, you know, it's not going to keep me alive, whereas if my buddies are alive and you know, I get more bonus for healing, that's just a way better. So now I have Cone, and remember, we're picking up everything because we are poor and have nothing, and we don't have our power base that's on our home server. The spell that I cast, see how useful that is? I've got my Find Secret Doors. We're not going to go in there. That's an ambush. We're just going to deal with these monsters. And the order of the day is survive. You know, we're not going to worry about our XP. We're not going to worry about how much favor we're getting. We're just going to try to survive this. And the #1 way that you survive these low-level quests against these kobolds is you kill the casters first. Find the casters and target them and jump out of the way of their lightning bolts, and just make sure that you do your best. See, I will get bonus XP for finding these secret doors, which is why I wanted to do that. I think there's an ambush here. Yep, and the shaman, I've got him targeted. And so you can see why I like Cone. A lot of people play in Chain on Warlock, but I just love the fact that I am spraying these guys down. I'm like hosing them down with damage. And even though the numbers that you see for my DPS are low, at this level, those low numbers, you know, I mean, it does, you can do some good damage. Now, see, this is very dangerous because that tube, that's like a lightning conductor, and he will shoot lightning and it'll go right down. You see that? That'll go right down. Now look at this. I have a remove curse potion. I only have the one. It's probably dumb for me to use it there, but I'm going to trust my instincts, and hopefully I don't get hit again. Remember, I'm still looking for mats. There's another small wooden idol to craft that underwater action item. This door has a ton of mobs behind it, so I'm going to try to get them as fast as I can here. And they don't really magic missile, but I will put the shield on anyway, and then I'm going to re-blur myself, re-expeditious retreat. Just gonna put all the buffs on me again, just because what rage does is give me more hit points. So if you ever have to run at a shaman like that, just jump and strafe because, you know, like I said, if he casts a spell, there's a good chance it's going to be at this level lightning bolt, and you can move out of the way. If these were orcs, our strategy would be a little different, because orcs trip. You have to be very careful, and the orc shaman, they can murder you in other ways. But you don't see a lot of orcs killing people on the Hardcore League, but you do see kobolds all the time. These shaman kill people all the time. You should not write them off and say, oh, they're just little cute kobolds. Kobolds still hate you, you know. But we show them the respect that they deserve, because when they start spamming those lightning bolts, see, there's a shaman. He wants me, but I'm not going to let him hit me. Oh, yeah, well, I'm just going to have to let that curse time out. Now, here's an interesting bit of DDO trivia. Not going to open that. When the game first launched, and for a while after, any effect that you had put on you was permanent. So this curse, even though it's ticking down for a minute and a half, if this were back in 2006, 2007, that curse would be permanent. You would have to exit the adventure and have a buddy who's a cleric remove it for you, or go to an NPC, one of the Silver Flame NPCs, or you could do a Sovereign Host and cleric. It doesn't, not that that matters, but and you would have to have them remove the curse for you. All the effects are like that. Blindness, turn to stone, what's the other one? Exhaustion, I believe, although I'm not 100% about that. Fatigue. I'm probably forgetting something. Poison, I forget, to be completely honest with you. I don't know if poison was permanent or if it had a timer on it. But so basically back in the day, if you got cursed, it was a disaster. If you got blinded back in the day, that was a disaster, because, you know, it was permanent. You had no way to get it off. If you were in a dungeon and you didn't have remove blindness potions or a blindness immunity item, and people in your group couldn't help you, you had to exit the quest blind, run through the harbor blind, and find a cleric. You know, there's one in the inn, the bar, that's not that far from us, but still, you're running around and you can't see anything. So but they changed that. It was too nasty, I guess they thought. Something else that is a very interesting thing about DDO when it first launched is that invisibility was 100%. It worked. The monsters could not see you when you ran by them. They couldn't sense your presence at all. And so Turbine at the time changed it. I think it was in one of the first or second patches that they did to the game, because people, once we all figured out that you could do that, we would just invis at the beginning of the quest and run through to the end. And I think somebody did that. I'm not 100% sure. When this game first launched, the raid that was in the game, Tempest Spine, was the first raid that launched with the game. And I believe it was closed for a lot of that first period that DDO was around, because somebody figured out how to run through immediately and finish it. It was like 30 or seconds or a minute, and for all I know, it had something to do with invisibility. Somebody watching this who played back then might know exactly what it was going on. I didn't know about it. I didn't do it. I did Tempest Spine a lot, but I didn't back when the game first launched. So let's see, maybe we got some of this dodge, armor, and cold. I like the dodge. Nothing really good. Nothing I can sell. So, I mean, I'm just going to take the most expensive thing. I think this cloak at 2,000 is the most expensive. And sell it for money. But there we go. We did the Butcher's Path. Now you're saying, well, that looked really easy. But keep in mind, though, I've done that quest 1,000 times. I know what I'm doing. There's no, even though I'm on the Hardcore League server, I don't have that existential dread, because I believe if I die, because we're in the after party, I would go to the Land of Lost Souls, but then I can leave and reincarnate and quest again. So, I mean, I'm not sure that it's, I'm treating it as if it's a permadeath situation, but I don't believe because the event is over that I really have anything to worry about. Okay, so this is great. I found a couple things that I will use. And I'm going to save that wand. Nisa's Bauble gives me wisdom, which I don't need. That would not give me a +1. It would only give me 11 wisdom, and I'm sitting at a 10. So I'm just going to sell that. But these death block bracers, even though I don't care about tumble, I do want death block. See, now I have death block, which is very important on the Hardcore League server. I'm going to sell those. So everything that I don't need, I sold. So let's sit and talk for a bit about some of the quests. There is a low-level quest out here called an explosive situation. And some people have this on their skip list. It's right here. I've already done it. I would not skip this quest. I think that this is an easy quest. However, that being said, if you're a melee and you are running around with a two-handed weapon, swinging it and smashing all the exploding boxes without healing potions, you could blow yourself up. Yeah. Have I seen that happen? I don't remember seeing a death message. You see a lot of these miscellaneous death messages, so that could be. So it wouldn't tell me specifically that an exploding barrel blew up some person, but I'm sure it happens. I've seen some really crazy. People die drowning. People die falling. People die doing some really funny stuff. Last season, I don't know if it was a gag or not. I mean, who can say? I think I told you guys in video 1, people died of those fire beetles out in the Borderlands. This quest here, you have to free a bunch of mangy dogs from the sewer. Last season, I saw somebody die from one of them. They died in this. I don't know if it was a joke just to make a funny death message, or if they went in here and then went AFK for something and the dogs just ate them. So, kind of a funny way to go if you're gonna go. That's a thing. That's a meme, by the way. There is a Hardcore League meme where people will try to make really funny or ironic character names and then go and die in some crazy way. So the message that you see is, you know, like, what, who, how did that happen? And people get a laugh out of it. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a good way to relieve tension, because this can be a very stressful event. Like I said, I've known people who got 3, 4, 4,500 favor and then died. I mean, that's extremely frustrating. So I'll read some of the list here. The next one that people have on the list is Devil Assault. Devil Assault is the quest that's in the marketplace. It's basically a long fight. You go in and A whole bunch of monsters spawn out of these 3 portals, and you just have to beat them down wave after wave after wave. Um, that quest is a bit of a different quest. There isn't another quest like it. That quest harkens back to the Devil Invasion of the Marketplace, and the devs left that quest in because it was popular. It has multiple difficulties that scale. So normal is level 6, hard is level 12, elite is level 18. However, you cannot go in and do the quest on elite at level 18 and get the favor for that, because as we know, you have to be within 4 levels of the base level of the quest in order to get into it. So the base level of Devil Assault is level 6. That means that you can only enter that quest up until level 10. So if you want to do that quest on elite, in heroic elite, you must do it at level 10. You cannot get into it after, and you can't do it in epics either. I think people have tried, and it wouldn't let them in epics, unless they change something with one of the patches for Hardcore League Season 4. So now, I would say to go in and do it and grab the favor on normal. Go in at level 10, do it at level 6. It's a cakewalk. It's super easy. Go in there with a group, post an LFM, jump into an LFM. You're level 10. You have a bunch of skills by that time. You go in there and you knock it out. I have seen groups do hard, and I got to run that quest and pike somebody last season. One of the guys in Death Smile, who was a phenomenal player. He was on a bear build and just played that bear. He did blood tribute, and it was fantastic. He was able to solo that quest on elite at level 10. Now, would I recommend that you do that? No, I would not recommend that at all. As a matter of fact, like I said, it's on some people's skip list. But what I would say is, keep in mind always that the earlier quests are way easier than the hard quests. You want to knock out as many early quests as you can. Now, I'm not saying to jump into Devil Assault, you don't know this quest, and run in there and drop dead. No, what you want to do is do it smart, get at least the normal favor for it, and that's fine. Call it a day. Don't worry about it. If you found a really great group and they want to knock it out on hard, go for it. But just make sure that you take care of yourself. Survival first. I'm not saying that you cut and run, but do the best you can to be participating in whatever the group is doing in there. Because on hard, you do get some challenging monsters, especially in the final 2 waves of those fights. So you definitely want to be ready for it. If you're not on a high survivability, if you have no ability to self-heal yourself, if your DPS is low, if you can't, like you're on a caster, jump heal and jump cast yourself out of trouble, if you're not on a barbarian who can blood tribute themselves, you need to be able to heal. If you're just on a fighter and you're smacking them for crazy DPS, but you can't keep yourself healed, that quest goes on for 20 some odd minutes, like 25 minutes. So you have to plan to survive that. It doesn't matter. You could one-shot everything, but if you're getting hit at the same time, after 10 minutes, you're almost dead. What's the point? So you want to plan ahead. The next quest I see on this list, and apparently it's for 15 favor each, is Temple of Elemental Evil. Now, Temple of Elemental Evil is one of those quests that was added to DDO, and I believe it was added right before they came out with Reaper content. In my opinion, DDO putting Reaper in was a phenomenal addition to the game. It sort of revitalized the game content, making quests that people had run ad nauseum to the point where they were passing out challenging again. Some people disagree with that, but I really like the Reaper. But the point is, Temple of Elemental Evil was made prior to that. And it was during a time when people were complaining about the quests in DDO being too easy. So the devs decided to make the quests much, much harder. And so when you go into Temple of Elemental Evil, you'll notice that it is much harder than the other content at that level. The base level of Temple of Elemental Evil is level 7. You know, we could talk about other level 7 quests that are cakewalks. Temple of Elemental Evil will kill you very, very quick if you're not careful. There's massive groups of mobs. There's traps. The mobs, they just run at you in these massive groups that can swarm you. And you have to be careful. You have to be with a group that knows it, or you just have to be a baller, basically. You know, you go in there by yourself and stomp everything, and you have enough hit points. You don't need to worry about the traps. But likely you're not. I mean, you might be a baller, but the point is, I think doing part 1, totally acceptable. Good way to get an early 15 favor. Part 2, I put it on the skip list. I don't run it. I don't recommend you run it. If you find a group that knows it and wants to run it, you know, that's fantastic. Just be prepared for it to be a moderate disaster. Be prepared to, you know, cry into a pillow, because it might be the worst thing that you decide to do during Hardcore League. The next quest people have on here is Vaughn 3, Gateway to Kyber. Base level 9. You go through this quest, you fight the trolls to get into the quest, and then you go into the... We're just going to call it Vaughn 3, because off the top of my head I don't remember the names. But why do people skip Vaughn 3? Vaughn 3 is a phenomenal amount of experience. Anybody who plays DDO and has done farming past lives knows that Vaughn 3 is not a quest you want to skip. But on Hardcore League, it does have an inordinate amount of things that can kill you. Not only are there drow casters that throw death magic at you and have spell resistance, so they're hard to kill, but you also have an entire area filled with beholders, and sometimes there is an elder beholder out there, a named elder beholder. Anybody who plays DDO knows that beholders can one-shot you like that. Like, you gotta respect beholders. I mean, beholders are one of the most iconic monsters that Dungeons and Dragons has produced. People who don't play Dungeons and Dragons know what beholders are. And when Turbine made them, they made them full of wrath and fury. I mean, you can run up against one and be hit with the Disintegrate or a Death Ray, or you know, any number of things. They do a Fire Ray. They're just very nasty. And so they also do an anti-magic cone. So if you run at them, any buffs you have on you will be stripped off of you. So you might think, oh, I have Death Ward. Well, that's not going to help you when it's stripped off of you and then he hits you with a Death Ray, a Finger of Death. Or if he shoots a Disintegrate at you, it doesn't matter if you have Death Block on. Disintegrate is one saving throw. You make a Fortitude save or you don't. If you fail your Fortitude save, you take the Disintegrate Ray damage, and if it's more than you have hit points, then you're dead. Now, notice what I just said. The Disintegrate Ray. Well, what do we know? We know that you can dodge yourself rays by jumping around like a crazy jumping bean. What they call in the DDO community, jumping around like a jackass. Yeah, I mean, it works. It works. If you see a beholder, do not run up to him and say, hey, here's my punum. Go ahead, shoot a ray right between my eyes. No. Jump around like a crazy person and try to kill them as fast as you can. Depending on your group, maybe you have somebody a two-handed fighter who can run up and whack them and kill them. They don't have many hit points. Their armor class isn't very high. You may have a wizard who's got PK or Finger of Death that can just one-shot them. You yourself may have something like Sunbolt. Favored Souls can Sunbolt them from far away. Rangers, bow and arrows are fantastic. Knife throwers, any ranged really, inquisitives, artificers, you know, all you guys will have means, you know, ranged weapons, they have a very long range, so you can shoot then duck behind a corner. Keep in mind, rays have double the range, so you may think, oh, I'm so far away from that beholder, I could never be hit by a disintegrate ray, and then blammo, you get hit by a disintegrate ray, because it's really, you know, the rays go far, so you have to be careful. The next thing people on here is, on this list that I'm looking at, is Tomb of the Forbidden. Now, Tomb of the Forbidden is one of the Necro 3 quests, 18 favor, level 11. I would say that the Necropolis quests are a lot of fun. Those are quests, the strategy, you want to get these done. And so the strategy for getting the Necropolis quests done is this is what I did. I looked at the LFMs every day and looked for a group, and the people running and posting these groups will post it like Necro 1, Necro 2, Necro 3, Necro 4. I know Necro 1 pretty well. I know Necro 2 okay. Necro 3 is just one of those areas I don't really know that well, so I was very hesitant to go into there by myself or with a short group. I wanted to find a group that knew it, and so I looked at the LFMs and I found a group that was doing Necro 3, and I sent the quest leader a message and said, look, I don't really know these quests. I want to get this done. Do you guys know this quest? And they said, yes, we know this pretty well. And so I got to tag along with them and learn, pay attention. I didn't want to hold the group back by having them handhold me through all the content, but you know, following exactly what they did, what the quest leader said to do, and we were able to get them done. I would say that if it weren't for a group, let's say I just kept logging in and not finding anybody, I probably would have skipped it and gone to House Cannith and done the Cannith Challenges, done all the Cannith Challenges to try to make up the 18 favor that I was losing out on. But again, I've said it 100 times already. That's a level 11 quest. That's 18 favor. And you want to be able to skip level 19 and 20 quests, not level 11 quests. So if you can get that done, if you can get Necro 3 done, I would say do it. But you don't want to just run in there and say, hey, I'm going to learn this on the Hardcore League. So here's the strategy. If you cannot find a group and you need to get a quest done, log into your home server, whatever it is. My home server is Sarlona. Log into your main and go to the quest that you're thinking about running on the Hardcore League and run it on your main and learn where the quest is going to kill you. Run through there and learn the quest. Just see where all the traps are, see where all the mobs are, see what you have to watch out for. Do your best to figure it out, and then once you have it muscle memory, because you've run it once or twice or 5 or 10 times, whatever it is that you need to, then go back to Hardcore League and look for a group for it. And if you can't find one, see what you can do, put together a group yourself. Now you know the quest a little and you can run it and get it done. The next quest on this is the pre-raid, the level 12 pre-raid for the Demon Queen, Zwabi's Revenge. It is a level 12. It gives 18 favor. So here's the thing. A lot of people will tell you on the Hardcore League that the only raid that you're going to run is the Chronoscope. The Chronoscope, I believe, you can run at level 10. I think it's level 6, and you can go in there at level 10. I might be wrong about that, but I disagree. I think that you should run Tempest Spine. I think you should run Chronoscope. And I think that you can run the Demon Queen if you know it. If you know it. There are some people who know the Demon Queen raid so well they can solo it. So now we're back to the strategy. For you to get your 5,000 favor, you want to get as much favor as you can Well, now what are you going to do? Because let's say you don't know it that well. You're going to look at the LFMs, and you're going to look out for a group that is doing Zwabi's Revenge, the pre-raid. And maybe they're even going to do the raid. They'll tell you. Send the lady or man a message and ask them, are you going to do both the raid and the pre-raid? And then let them know. I don't know it, but I want to tag along. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. You tell me what to do, and I'll do it. I can trap, or I'm ranged, or I'm a spellcaster, or I have 1,000 hit points because I can blood tribute myself through tomorrow. And they'll find a job for you to do and let you go and hopefully knock that out. And like I said, there are people in this community who can do that with their eyes closed by themselves. They don't need anybody. They don't care. Maybe they'll be happy that you want to give them company. But at the same time, it may be that you don't find a group. You could go into the other strategy where you go to your home server and try it, see how it goes. But I would recommend not skipping it. Do you actually need to do the raid? No, you could skip that raid. But if you can get it done, get it done. A great example of this is during Hardcore League, I don't like to do Vela. I do Vaughn 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I go in and I do Vaughn 5 because it's fantastic favor. And it's a fun... Vaughn 5 is a really fun quest if you haven't done it before. The raid is fun too. The raid, the baseball diamond, and you have to knock down the pillars at the same time, and then you run in and you fight Vela, who's, in the House Cannith vault that they have up in outer space, and it's a great view of Eberron. It's really cool to do if you haven't done it for the lore and, just for the cool factor. But I skip it on Hardcore League just because, I remember when they put that raid in, I've died during that raid getting blown off the edges just because of stupid mechanics. And so I know nowadays people have it down to a science, where to stand, where not to stand, and they can tell you, and it can be very safe. And in Hardcore League Season 2 and Hardcore League Season 3, I did Vaughn 5. I left for Vaughn 6. And then when I talked to the guy who was running the Vaughn 6, I saw his LFM, they did it successfully. Nobody died. So, I could have stayed and got the favor. It's just a thing that I skipped that raid just because, maybe in Hardcore League Season 4, I'll change my mind and do it. But, as of right now, I probably wouldn't. Then there's the quests that you have out in the Forgotten Realms. They are level 15, and they are all the Wayloon prison quests. I believe they're out in that area. Shadow of a Doubt, Escape Plan, Disciples of Shar. So here's the thing with those. I got those all done. I would not put them on a skip list. However, I know why people do, because if you don't know them, there are some things that go on in those quests that can be very tricky. So I would say, again, that you want to sort of focus on talking to the people that you're going to join their group. Ask them if they know the quest. Tell them that you don't know the quest and that you don't want to make a dumb mistake. You can go to your home server, log in and try them and see what you think. If surviving is your number one priority, that is your number one goal. If you have a bad feeling about it, then don't do it. But it's a good to get those things out of the way. So here's one that I skip. Me personally, is Litany of the Dead. I skip it. It takes a lot of time to put together the sigil. Once you get in there, there's a lot of the things that you have to watch out for, the force traps, and you can die if you misclick. It's just not, it's 18 favor. I would rather go do challenges out in the Forgotten Realms, do the challenges, the Druid challenges, and the other. There's a few challenges out there that are not very difficult, the Purple Knight stuff, and make sure you've got your House C challenges done. Make sure you do the challenges out in the Forgotten Realms. And then, you know, you can skip it. It's only 18. Now, that being said, in Death Smile, we had characters who would solo that. Solo Litany of the Dead. They just log in and solo it. That's how good they are. I mean, that's not me. But, so you could probably find somebody and say, look, I don't want to skip this. I want to do it. I've got my sigil made. I'm, you know, and they would say, all right, let's go. And so here's another quest that I think... So we've got all the Delirium quests. Anybody who knows those quests will know exactly sort of what do you say about those. They're all beholders and thrackhounds and mind flayers, little tiny beholders and big beholders and crazy drunk beholders, and you gotta make a ship out of beds and fly it through an imagination and go into a beholder's stomach, and you know, then you have to do I think it's a beholder fashion show with all of these crazy... I mean, it just gets... The quests are really fun, and I would recommend that you do them. If you haven't done them, go to your home server and try them. But like we've said, Hardcore League is not the server to be experimenting and learning quests for the first time. And if you don't know those Delirium quests really, 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 really well, then skip them. You don't have to skip them all. Some of the earlier ones are not that bad, but the later ones, I think Terminal Delirium, I don't think I've done that in any of the Hardcore Leagues. I think I skipped that. The first one is okay, I think, where you go into the bar and you do the drinking game with the beholders. But again, you want to be with a group that knows this, because the end fight of that first one, I don't know the name. We could run and go figure out what the name is of that quest. But, you know, the first thing you do is you come across a bunch of drunk beholders. The last fight in that, you're locked in a room with an elder beholder. That is the final fight. Yeah, sound fun? Sound like you want to do that on a hardcore insta-death server where you die, that's it? And you're gonna go party with a elder beholder who's taken over a restaurant? No. But you know, you may find a group that knows the quest really well and they can knock it out. But it's this quest right here. Yeah, you have to be level 14 to pick it up. But so all the Delirium quests, you really want to pay attention to the group, the LFMs, find a group that knows it. You know, the guy that I told you who soloed the Devil Assault on Elite when he was level 10, he died doing these Delirium quests. And it wasn't the fact that he doesn't know them. He knew them really well. He failed the saving throw. What can you do? He failed the saving throw. You know, that's Dungeons and Dragons. That's the game we're all playing. So, you know, I mean, you gotta respect the game. Skill aside, that guy's one of the most skilled players that I've ever met, and you know, he had to start over again. So it's not worth it. But you can knock them out. I would skip Terminal. I would skip the last one. But, you know, like I said, you may find somebody who knows it and is going to let you hang out in Pike or take you through it. But I just skip it. Creeping Death. Creeping Death is a quest that is... Let me see if I can take you guys to where that is. Even at this low level, I might be able to get out there. This is the quest that is out in the area where you go to the Shroud. It's the Meridia. And people skip... No, he won't let me go there yet. People skip Creeping Death because there are many different ways to die. I don't skip this quest. I do it. But you will see this on list. Why? Because not only are there very deadly traps and very deadly Kobold Shaman casting multiple death spells on you, but you get locked into a hallway with a gelatinous cube that has a little crazy Kobold wizard inside it, and he is, you know, riding it around like a horse through these halls. And the gelatinous cube is not like other normal gelatinous cubes. It's bright red. If you touch it, even a slight little touch, it's an insta-kill. You cannot touch it. Now, there are, I believe, Favored Soul in the War Tree has a tier 5 ability, or tier 6, or it's one of those. People who know Favored Souls will know what I'm talking about. That makes them immune to this effect, so you can stand in it and it will not kill you. Again, let's see our asterisk. Do not try that on the Hardcore League. If you're gonna make a Favored Soul and play a Favored Soul, and you say, "Oh, I heard that I can run into the Death Cube in Creeping Death and I won't die," that's not the Hardcore League. Is not the place to try anything out. Hardcore League is survival 101. You know, go to your home server, make a Favored Soul, practice, run around, do whatever you want on your home server. On the Hardcore League server, assume that if you touch that cube, you're dead. So a lot of people skip it just because I've seen really good players make a mistake in that quest, get hit by a trap, or get hit by the cube. They're not fast enough getting out of the way. They thought that they had more time. They thought that they turn a corner and thought they had more room. So, you know, people skip it. I personally do it. I do it. It's 18 favor. I think it's great. Other people here skip a quest called In the Flesh. It's level 15. It's out in the Forgotten Realms, I believe. Evening Star. I'm pretty sure I do this quest. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I skip out in Evening Star. Although maybe you guys know a quest that I should skip. But I think I did all the Evening Star quests. So we'll skip that, but that's a quest that people, you know, if you're making a list, you're keeping up with me here. Question mark that one. If you don't know it, maybe you know it. Maybe you can comment, let me know that, hey, I can run that quest in 5 minutes. It's easy. Okay, I don't think I skip it, but the next is, so we're going to say that you're skipping all of the raids, pretty much. I mean, like I said, Tempest Spine, Chronoscope, Demon Queen, you can do them if you know them. Some people on the Hardcore League, you'll see groups to do the Titan raid. Some people know that inside and out, and they can lead you through and get it done for you. I always skip it just because I know that in there's some wonky things that I don't want the randomness factor. I like to play really safe, so I don't go in. Even though there were a couple of people in Death Smile who ran Titan raids for us because they know it so well. I don't do it. But the Shroud. So here's the thing. The Shroud, if you know the Shroud has a part where you die. You automatically die. So you can't run the Shroud unless you're playing a Hardcore League that has extra lives. And even so, you know, you're giving up a life to run the Shroud. So unless you really are good and you had multiple extra lives and you were that confident that you wouldn't need one later on for some random circumstance, you could run the Shroud. I flagged for the Shroud on the Hardcore League, but I did not run it. I was thinking about running it. Mary still has 2 lives, so I was gonna go, but the person who was going to group the raid together, for some reason it didn't happen, and I didn't force the issue. I wasn't really that keen on running it anyway. Even though I love the Shroud, it would be nice to have green steel on Hardcore League. I just didn't do it. So the next quest that's on the list is Monastery of the Scorpion, and that gives you 24 favor. And I have to agree, I don't run this quest easily. This is on my skip list. If those of you who know Monastery know, I mean, it can be challenging. So There's another one on the list here, Enter the Kobold. That one, I think that I do. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong about that. But that's another one to question mark. Sane Asylum. So, Sane Asylum, Lord of Stone, Lord of Eyes. So, here's the thing. We're the average person who doesn't know these quests would definitely want to look for a group who knew what they were doing. If you just walk into these quests, they're going to go bad quickly. Sane Asylum is not a hard quest. If you have somebody who knows that puzzle, if you have somebody who knows how to deal with the shifting reality, then it's easy. However, keep in mind, Mind Flayers, Thrackhounds, Beholders, Flesh Renders. Flesh Renders, by the way, if you didn't know, their claws, when they hit you, are considered Vorpal weapons. So you need to have Death Block on. I mean, and so that's, you know, I haven't said this up front. I probably should restate this, maybe reshoot some video for, like, one of my first recommendations is, but you want to have Death Block on as early as you can get it and keep it on you at all times. If you can get Death Block at level 1, get it and wear it. Don't take it off, because there are monsters who have Vorpal effects on their teeth and their claws and stuff. So, but if you have somebody who knows that puzzle and you can do it and you don't have to fight the Elder Beholder, and the only fight that you have to go into is the last fight with the Beholder, and if you have some guys who do some really good damage, or, you know, casters who know what they're doing or whatever, then you can knock that out pretty quick. And it's not that difficult. Lord of Stone is a quest that I think is super easy. Absolutely run that. I mean, that one is straight shot. There is, you know, you fight a Medusa, you fight a couple Medusa, but, you know, if you are, by the time you hit that level, you should be able to deal with a Medusa. And then Lord of Eyes. Lord of Eyes is a quest that I skip. I skip it, but there are people I know who run it. And so if you find a group that knows it, then you should run it with them. A matter of fact, I think I was invited to run it with a couple of the groups, but I just decided not to. Ascension Chamber. Ascension Chamber is something off the top of my head I don't remember, but I think that's the one out in Shavarath that you have the insta-kill trap at the end. So the one where you get bound. I might be wrong, but people have that on their skip list. The good thing is it's level 21 when you do it on Elite. By that time, hopefully, you will be really close to 5,000 favor, and it may be one that you can skip. Acute Delirium also is on the list here for skip. We've already talked about the Delirium Quests. Palace of Stone, In the Demon's Den, Fashion Madness. So I ran those. But I ran them with groups who knew what they were doing. You know, I asked them if they knew the quests, and, you know, because I don't know them that well. So we're back to that, the two strategies. The first strategy would be talk to the people who are running the quest, find a group that knows it, run with them. If that's too risky for you, or if you can't find a group, go to your home server, try it, see if it's something that you think you could handle, and then put up an LFM yourself if you run through it and you don't have that hard a time with it. Terminal Delirium, we mentioned. I skip that. I don't run it. Vision of Destruction, I skip that. Some people run that. I skip it. Raiding the Giant Vault. Off the top of my head, I believe that is the solo quest out on the island. I don't think that is that hard. However, I would say that by the time you get to that level, you probably don't need to do that, but if you needed to do a quest, I wouldn't skip it because it's really not that hard. If you don't know it, if you haven't done it, go to your home server and do it. It's actually worth doing those inspired quests because you can get Uon stones, and while the last quest I would do that either on casual or normal, you can, if you run it 4 times in a row, I think you can, it's a guaranteed Uon stone, and some of the Uon stones you want the spell absorb Uon stone if you can get it. I got lucky and pulled one out in the desert in season 2. I didn't find one in season 3. Okay, so here we are at Shavarath. Sins of Attrition, Genesis Point, Bastion of Power, New Invasion. I do all of those. I know that there's people who do not run them. They are very challenging. Very challenging. That's the only... Mary, my baby bear build, is a trapper. She blew up a box there. There's lots of traps. They can be dangerous, but with a good group, you should do those. Master Artificer is a raid. The Riddle and Murder by Night, I'm pretty sure I did those. I'll tell you one quest that I do skip though, and I don't know if I'll remember the name of it. I don't even think you can do it. It might be epic only. It's the A Study in Sable. I think that's the name of it. It's the one where you go into the vampire's mansion. It's actually one of the coolest quests in DDO if you haven't done it. The story and the ambiance, fantastic. But the last fight, you have to get the vampire into these light beams, and even on a regular server, it can be challenging. So I skipped that. I don't even think about doing that. Lord of Blades, Tower of Despair. Well, like I said, raids, you don't need to worry about them. You can skip them. If you found a baller group who's going to run one of those and you want to try it, but keep in mind, I wouldn't do it. I do all of the Underdark. So all of the stuff from the harbor that flags you into the Underdark and then gets you to Evening Star, I do all of that stuff. You do all the druid stuff out in Evening Star. You do all those quests. All the Cannith Challenges you can do. Dr. Rushmore, Lava Caves, Kobold Island. They're very easy. I would recommend doing all of those. Let's see. So I think we covered a lot of the list. I'm looking here at a different list. See, this person has Prove Your Worth as a quest that they skip. I disagree with that. I think you definitely want to get that done. Prove Your Worth is not a hard quest if you know how to run it. And if you don't know how to run it, that's okay. Why? Because you have a strategy. We've gone over it. You look at the LFMs, see who's doing it, send the quest leader a message, tell them you don't know the quest at all. Get a sense for what type of a party leader they are. Will they let you pike? Will they let you stand at the entrance and get the favor? That happens so much. People are very nice on hardcore. Me personally, I know Prove Your Worth really well. I wouldn't care if you piked it because I know it well enough to just do it. So you may find a group like that. Otherwise, the other strategy is you go to your live server, get your main, go run the quest, see how it is, see what's killing you, what doesn't kill you, and then after you feel comfortable enough, go back to the Hardcore League server and play it. They have things on this list. See, Chronoscope we did on Elite. I see this person put it down for normal. Devil Assault, they have on normal. I agree with that unless you find a really good group. We already talked about that, so we won't go over it again. Temple of Elemental Evil 2, they skip. I agree with that. See, they're skipping Tempest Spine. I disagree. You want to do Tempest Spine. Tempest Spine is a quest that you can absolutely do. There are people who can solo that. So, you know, just, again, the strategy. Send out the LFM. You look at the LFMs, send out messages, talk to people, make friends, get your buddies, see if they will let you pike. If they won't let you pike, see, here's the thing. When I say see if they'll let you pike, I'm not recommending that you make a character that just pikes the entire time. But you'd be surprised. Always go into a quest, you know, ready to participate. But you'll be surprised. Some people just won't care because they can do it by themselves. You know, they're like soloing it 1,000 times on their home server. They can do it with their eyes closed. They don't care. So you just got to communicate with these people. Never assume, but you'd be surprised. Always assume that you have to do something. Go into a quest ready to do the work, but sometimes you get lucky. The pit. I recommend doing the pit on Elite. Some people do it on normal. Some people can do the pit on Elite by themselves. Some people, it takes them 9 hours and then they die. It's just one of those things. Stealer of Souls, they have a skip down. I think I did skip Stealer of Souls. Yeah, the Deliriums, like I said, I skip all the Deliriums. Fire on Thunder Peak. So these are all raids. So we're skipping all of the raids unless somebody knows it really well. Hound, Shroud, Project Nemesis, Too Hot to Handle, Baba Yaga's Hut, old Baba's Hut. Legendary Tempest Spine. See, no, do that on Heroic. You don't need to do Legendary Tempest Spine on Hardcore League. Temple of Deathworm, Fire and Thunder Peak. No, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that's it. That's the quests that you skip on your way to 5,000. You may have suggestions. You may think that I missed something. You may want to add something. Comment or let me know what you think. And gonna wrap the video up now. I'll catch you next time, and we'll go over more stuff about hardcore and how to survive it and how to get all the rewards. Join us for more. I plan to do lore videos for each quest in DDO, as well as the raids. Plus, I will be releasing more Session 0 videos for DDO on topics such as player character races, the religions of Eberron, the Last War, and the Mournlands, the Dragon Marks, the Dragon Marked houses, and much, much more. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. I like interacting with other players. My main tune in DDO is named Mary. I am on Sarlona. I also have a guild on the Hardcore League. My guild is Death Smile. Please say hi if you're on either of those servers. Subscribe to see more Adventure AI content about DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and gaming in general. I also play Star Wars The Old Republic. You can join us at Adventure AI on Discord. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter. You can go to our Patreon and become a patron of the channel, where you would get access to all of the scripts, the images, the music, the videos, as well as behind the scenes, and the ability to request topics for me to make future videos. Thanks very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope your adventures go well.